Jai Hind everyone, myself Dr. Inderjeet Kaur. I am professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering at Akgec Engineering College, Ghaziabad. Today we will be discussing about the Saas security for the topic cloud computing. So, Saas means software as a service. We are dealing with software as a service. Here the client has to depend upon the service provider for all the security measures. We are using either infrastructure as a service, platform as a service and software as a service. When we are dealing with software as a service, everything is available on the cloud and we are using the cloud services, then it becomes a major concern to take care of the security measures that are to be provided by the cloud service provider. Here the provider must ensure that the multiple users, they do not get to see each other's data. Suppose I am also login and I am accessing the cloud data. Other users are also accessing the cloud data. So it becomes quite important that we are not able to see each other's data. So it becomes very important to the user to ensure that the right security measures, they are being taken care, and it becomes very difficult to get an insurance that the application will be available when it is being needed. Then the cloud computing, it provides all the solutions for all the common security challenges that the traditional earlier existing system face. Suppose we compare it with the traditional security issues. Here we are comparing the security issues in Saas. This is my traditional security model and now I am being switched to cloud specific security issues. When I was dealing with traditional security issues, I was being taken care of authentication, means the user who is getting login, he should be authenticated user. Then I was also taking care of how much authorization he has been got. Some will be treated as normal users, some will be power users and all. And then the second thing, how much my data is available. That is the biggest concern. The data should be available to the public, to all the users who are residing on the same network. Then how much confidential is my data, means confidentiality is also of the major concern. Then I need to, how can I make the virtual machine and how secure it will be. So I need to take care of these four things. When I am being moved on to the cloud and I am using the cloud services, then I need to take care first how much information is secure on the cloud, means the information security is to be taken care. Then the network that I am using, all the things that are residing on my network, then I need to take care how much secure is my network on which I am keeping my data. So information and network both has to be taken care how they are being secure. Then how my resources are available on they are available on a local machine. The availability of resources and seeing that they are available as a local resource. Then I should take care of the different cloud standards, so that if I move on to one vendor to another, there should not be any problem. Then I need to take care of the data segregation. There will be some need of how to segregate all the data, then I might be able to do that. Then is the data access. If data is available, how the different users, they are able to access that data, that is quite important. Then I need to take care of how much my secure are the web applications. Suppose that I am using HTTPS secure protocol, then all my web applications, they are being safe and they are running securely. Then next is data brochures. Data breaches should not be there. Then backup, my data should be available at the local machine. So if there comes any breach or any crash, I am having with my backup. Then is the identity management. All the available data should be available to all the admin users as per their identity. Then if I talk about the traditional security challenges, so first thing I need to take care for the authentication and authorization. Authentication and authorization applications for my enterprise environment, they may need to be changed to work within a safe cloud environment. So if I talk about the solution with this de facto standards of open authorization should be used, in which I am dealing with the third party auditor which maintains all the credentials, and my cloud provider can uniquely distinguish one user from another. Fine. Then the second thing, it verifies the user authenticity using two-step verification. For example, if we are using the G Suite account for Gmail users, then sometimes we may set it to two-step verification. The first step, it will ask for the password, and second step, it might ask from our second device, maybe the phone, which is based on the password and smart card, and out of band means strong two factors they are being used, so that the provider should know that user is authentic user. So we are using two-step verification for user authentication. So in addition to that, this scheme also provides the mutual authentication, identity management, and session key establishment. Means at the session layer, we might have studied in our computer networks that on a network, some things are being available for a particular amount of time, for a particular session only. Then again we need to re-log in. Then we need to take care the user privacy and security against many popular attacks. Means we need to apply some encryption and decryption algorithm for our security measures. Then second thing, it comes out to be availability. Availability means it is ensuring us that the reliable and timely access to the cloud data or cloud computing resources, they are being available to the specific user. The availability of cloud service provider, it is also a major concern. If our cloud services, they are getting disrupted, that means it is affecting our all the users if we are dealing with the traditional model. Then the Saas application, the software as a service application, it provides that the application providers, they are required to ensure that the systems, they are running properly whenever they are required with their services around the globe. So that means it is making the architectural changes and at the application and infrastructural level to add my scalability and high availability. Means resiliency to my hardware or software failures, or I can say to my DOS attacks, they need to be built from the ground if I am working within the application. At the same time, an appropriate action plan for our business continuity and disaster recovery need to be considered for any exigencies as per the guidance. Then third factor, it comes out to be data confidentiality. Confidentiality means I am taking care of, means I am preventing of intentional or unintentional, authorized, unauthorized disclosure of my information. Data should be data should be confidentially kept in the cloud system. It is related to the areas of intellectual property rights, IPR, that covered the channels, traffic analysis, encryption and inference. Then the next parameter that need to be taken care is virtual machine security. The hypervisor and the virtual machines in the cloud providers, they may also have vulnerabilities. For example, sometimes they may represent a more serious problem in the multi-tenant environments where the compromise of every single machine, they can affect all the users on the same physical server. Here, virtualization is one of the main components of the cloud, and it poses some major security risk. That is, it ensures that the different instances running on the same physical machine, they are being isolated from each other, and it is one of the major tasks of virtualization that is not met completely in our current scenario. Then virtual machines, they monitor, they should be the root secured. That means there should not be any privilege within the virtual guest environment that permits the interference within the host system. Some kind of vulnerabilities that has been found in all the virtualization software that can be exploited by the malicious or the local users, or they are bypassing the certain security restrictions to gain the different privileges. If we are talking about vulneralization, that is in virtual PC or virtual server, they could allow elevation of privilege cloud providers, and therefore they might need to reconsider my traditional security concerns from the different angles. Then if we are now moving on to the cloud specific security challenges, then the first thing we need to take care of the how much secure is my information. So in my software as a service model, the enterprise data that is being stored outside my enterprise boundary, that is stored outside the organization at the Saas vendor end from where I have purchased. So consequently, the Saas vendor, it must adopt to the additional security checks to ensure about the data security and to prevent the breaches due to security vulnerabilities in the application or through malicious employees. So that means it involves the use of strong encryption techniques for the data security and fine-grained authorization to control access to the data. Then EC2 administrators with a business need, they are required to use their individual cryptographically strong secure shell, that is SSH keys, they are being taken to gain access to the host. Then the second parameter is my network security. So in a SaaS deployment model, my sensitive data is obtained from the enterprise and it is processed by the SaaS application and it is stored at the SaaS vendor end. Here I need to take care of all the data flow. That means all the data flow over the network, it needs to be secured also. Means if it is mandatory to make my network secure in order to prevent the leakage of all the sensitive information, because within organization some parameters might be carrying sensitive information that should be secretly stored. So that this involves the use of strong network traffic encryption techniques such as secure socket layer SSL and transport layer security, that is TLS, for obtaining the security. For obtaining the maximum security, Amazon S3, that is accessible via SSL encrypted endpoints, and these encrypted endpoints, they are being accessible from both internet and from within Amazon EC2. So this ensures that the data is being transferred securely both within the Amazon web services and to or from the services outside of AWS. Then the next parameter comes, third one, that the resources are locally available to SaaS. Means if we are working in a SaaS model for my cloud environment, the end users, they may use the services provided by the cloud without knowing exactly where the resources for such services they are located. And the user should also know that possibly in other legislative domains, this poses a potential problem where it can happen that it is sometimes beyond the control of cloud providers. We are using recently the Dropbox users, they have to agree to the terms of services that tells that the providers the right to disclose the user information in compliance with the laws and law informants request. So, if we are dealing with secure SaaS model, that should be capable of providing the reliability to the customer on the location of the data of the consumer. Then the next is we are dealing with the different standards of cloud. So, to achieve interoperability among the cloud and here to increase the stability and security in my network, the different cloud standards, they are to be maintained across different standard developing organizations. For example, here the current storage services by the cloud service provider, they may be incompatible with those of another service provider. So, it should not happen. So, in order to keep their customers cloud providers, they may introduce the sticky services that creates the difficulty for the users if we want to migrate from one provider to another. So, the problem should not happen. For example, if we are dealing with Amazon S3 at present, but we want to switch on to the Google storage or to the IBM Blue Cloud, but we cannot because my Amazon S3 is incompatible with IBM Blue Cloud and Google storage. So, some different cloud standards, they need to be maintained so that the user in future if we want to switch from one vendor to another, so it should be made possible. There are currently a large number of standard bodies with different interests. For example, IEEE Cloud Computing Standard Study Group, ITU Cloud Computing Focus Group, Cloud Security Alliance CSA and Distributed Management Task Force, Storage Networking Industry Association, Open Grid Forum, Open Cloud Consortium and organizations for the advancement of structured information standards. Then next comes the data segregation. How to segregate the data? There are multiple tenants being residing on the cloud. So, multi-tenancy is one of the major characteristics of the cloud computing. As a result of multiple users residing on the cloud, they can store their data using the different applications provided by the Saas. So, in that situation, the data of various users, they will be residing at the same location at the same time. In that case, the intrusion of data of one user by another, it becomes possible in this environment, and this intrusion can be done either by hacking through the loopholes in that application or by injecting the client code into my Saas system. So, in this case, the client can write a masked code and inject into the application, and if the application, it executes this code without verification, then there comes a high potential of intrusion into the others' data. So, in that case, my Saas model, it should have, therefore, it should ensure a clear boundary for every user's data. So, this boundary must be ensured not only at the physical level, but till at the application level. Then the services, they should also be so intelligent in working in the cloud environment so that they can able to segregate the data from all the different users. So, there comes if attack by the malicious users that can also use the application vulnerability to handcraft the parameters, to change the parameters so as to bypass the security checks and access the sensitive data of other tenants. So, it should be taken care of that. Then next is the data access parameter. How the data access issue is mainly related to the security actually. So, when we are making the policies to the user for accessing the data by various means, the security measures should also be taken care. So, in the typical scenario, a small business organization that can use the cloud provided by some other providers for carrying out this for business processes. So, for that small organization will have its own security policies, or it can adopt the existing policies, or it may take over the service securities provided by the cloud vendor. So, which each employee, they can have access to the particular set of data. So, these security policies, they may entitle some considerations for some of the employees, and some employees might not be given the access for accessing the certain amount of data. So the SaaS model should also be flexible enough to incorporate the specific policies they must forwarded by the organization, and this model must be able to provide the organizational boundary for accessing onto the cloud. Then comes the next, web application security. SaaS means software as a service. It is deployed all the software over the internet, and it is deployed to run behind a firewall in local or the network, or we can access it through personal computer. The key characteristics include network based access for the commercially available data and the software to manage the activities from the center locations. This software that is provided as a service, it resides in the cloud without tying up with the actual users. Then in this scenario, the vulnerability can also come, so it can potentially have very much impact on all the existing customers using the cloud, and the challenge with the cloud security is not any different than that of the other web applications. So one of the problem is that the network security solutions such as network firewalls application or network intrusion detection or prevention the system, they do not address this problem. Then comes data breaches. Since data from various users and business organization, they are residing together in my cloud environment, so it causes a breach into the cloud environment. For it will be the attack the data to all the users, so cloud becomes a high value target. In the version business breach report blog, it is also being stated that the external criminals, they pose the greatest threat 73% but achieve the least impact, resulting in the virtualization vulnerability. Then taking the backup. So the SaaS vendor, they need to ensure that all the sensitive enterprise data is being taken care for the backup to facilitate the quick recovery in case of disaster. Then comes the identity management and sign-on process. We may provide the identity management, that is IDM. It is an area that deals with identifying the individuals in a system and controlling the access to the resources in that system by placing some restrictions on the established identity. So this area is considered as one of the biggest challenge, in which the SaaS provider need to know how to control and whichever to give the access within the enterprise. So this is being summarized, all the 12 steps when we are taking care of the moving on to the cloud SaaS model. All the security measures, they are being briefly summed up that we have discussed, and their current and possible solutions are also being discussed. Thank you all.